Inner peace is one of the most powerful signs that a woman is truly blessed by God because it is not something the world can give or take away. It comes from a place much deeper than comfort, success, or circumstances. It is that steady calm you feel when life seems uncertain, when plans fall apart, or when unexpected challenges show up. Yet you still find yourself breathing without panic, moving without fear, and believing without hesitation. It is the kind of peace that makes other people wonder how you manage to stay so centered when everything else feels out of control. And the truth is, it is not because life is perfect or because problems are smaller. It is because there is a divine covering over your spirit that tells you, even in chaos, you are not alone. Even in storms, you are being held. Even in confusion, there is still purpose guiding your steps, and that quiet strength inside you is the mark of God's blessing, because no human explanation can fully capture where it comes from. When a woman carries this peace, it is not loud or showy. It does not demand attention or prove itself in dramatic ways. It simply exists like a steady river flowing within her, and the more people are around her, the more they notice it. It becomes her presence, her energy, her silent influence that calms the room. And what is most beautiful is that it doesn't just serve her, it serves everyone who encounters her, because peace has a way of spreading without effort. One person's calm spirit can slow down anxiety in someone else. It can comfort the weary and reassure the uncertain, and that is what makes it such a divine gift, because not only does it protect her heart, it blesses others who are connected to her. It becomes evidence that God's favor is not selfish, it overflows. This peace shows itself when life throws obstacles that could break someone else down. Maybe it is the loss of something important. Maybe it is a relationship that didn't last. Maybe it is financial struggles or health battles. But instead of drowning in despair, she finds an anchor inside her that whispers, "It is going to be all right." She doesn't ignore the pain or pretend it isn't real. She feels it, she walks through it, but she doesn't let it consume her, because deep in her soul, she knows that every season has meaning, every storm has an ending, and every challenge is shaping her into something stronger. That quiet knowing is what allows her to rest when others can't sleep, to smile when others can't see light, to keep moving forward when others are frozen in fear. Peace like this cannot be manufactured, it cannot be bought, it cannot be copied, because it is rooted in faith and trust. It is the evidence that she is connected to something far greater than herself, and the more she leans into it, the more unshakable it becomes. The kind of peace she carries is not fragile. It doesn't disappear when things get difficult. It doesn't collapse when she is pressured. Instead, it becomes stronger. It becomes a shield that guards her thoughts and protects her emotions, and people often misunderstand it, thinking she doesn't care, when in reality, she cares deeply, but refuses to let fear rule her heart. A woman blessed with inner peace is not easily provoked. She doesn't waste her energy proving points or fighting battles that don't matter. She knows her worth without shouting it. She knows her path without comparing it, and she knows her strength without demanding recognition. Her peace keeps her steady in relationships. It allows her to forgive without holding grudges. It allows her to release without bitterness, and it allows her to love without fear. And all of that is possible only because she is anchored to a presence that keeps her whole even when life tries to break her apart. This blessing shows up most clearly in the little things, in the way she responds instead of reacts, in the way she listens without rushing to judgment, in the way she moves through her day without being constantly shaken by outside noise. While others are chasing approval or panicking over the future, she chooses to remain present. She chooses to keep her spirit grounded, and that simple choice allows her to experience a joy and clarity that many spend their whole lives searching for. The peace she carries reminds her that nothing is wasted, nothing is accidental, and nothing can separate her from the purpose she was created for. When you see this kind of peace in a woman, you are not just looking at a calm personality. You are looking at the evidence of divine blessing. It is not the absence of struggle that makes her shine. It is the way she endures the struggle with grace. It is the way she doesn't allow her circumstances to define her spirit, and it is the way she holds on to hope even when everything around her looks hopeless. This kind of peace is not temporary. It is lasting. It is the mark of a woman who is favored, protected, and deeply connected to the one who holds her life together. A heart that gives without expecting anything back is one of the clearest signs of a woman who is blessed, because it is rare in a world where so much is measured by what someone can gain in return. This kind of giving is not about recognition, it is not about applause, and it is not about making herself look good. It flows naturally, almost as if her soul is wired to care. She gives her time when others are too busy. She gives her attention when others are distracted. She gives her love when others are guarded, and she gives her resources even when she doesn't have an abundance. What makes it powerful is that she doesn't keep score. She doesn't measure her worth by what she gets back, and she doesn't stop when she feels overlooked, because the giving is not for show. It is who she is. It is her natural state, and that kind of generosity comes from being touched by something higher than human desire. When a woman lives with this spirit of giving, she carries an energy that changes the people around her. Her presence becomes a reminder that kindness still exists. Her actions become a lesson that compassion is stronger than selfishness. And her life becomes an example that blessings grow when they are shared. She doesn't need to announce it or make others notice. People feel it by the way she treats them. They feel it in the way she makes them feel valued, and they feel it in the way she chooses to lift instead of tear down. She gives encouragement when someone is weary. She gives patience when others are frustrated, and she gives forgiveness even when it is not deserved. And through that kind of giving, she creates an atmosphere that feels safe, healing, and full of grace. Her giving heart also shows itself in how she loves, because love for her is not a transaction. It is not about what she can gain. It is not conditional on perfection. It is offered freely, fully, and without fear of rejection. She pours into her family, her friendships, her community, and even strangers with the same sincerity. And she doesn't love halfway. She doesn't hold back. She gives her best even when others don't return it. And though at times it may seem like she is left empty, she never truly is, because the very act of giving fills her, it strengthens her, and it deepens her connection to her purpose. She understands that real love is not something you lose when it is not reciprocated. Real love is something that multiplies the more you give it away. This blessing is most visible in how she shows up when no one is watching, because generosity that only exists in public is shallow, but hers is quiet, consistent, and genuine. She is the woman who notices when someone is struggling and steps in without being asked. She is the one who lends her ear when a person feels invisible. She is the one who makes sacrifices behind the scenes that no one applauds. And she is the one who continues to give even when her own life is not easy. It is in those unseen acts that her true blessing shines, because it is proof that her heart is aligned with something greater than recognition. It is aligned with compassion. Her giving is not limited to material things. It extends to her spirit, her wisdom, and her faith. She shares her experiences not to boast, but to help others heal. She offers her words not to control, but to uplift. And she gives her faith not to pressure, but to inspire. She is generous with her understanding, knowing that sometimes what people need most is not answers, but presence, not solutions, but empathy, not advice, but simply someone who cares enough to stand beside them. And because she offers herself in these ways, she becomes a source of strength that others draw from without even realizing it. This kind of heart is often misunderstood in a world that values self-preservation. People may see her as too soft, too giving, too willing, but what they don't see is the divine strength that fuels her ability to keep giving. They don't see that her generosity is not weakness. It is power, because it takes more strength to give without expectation than it does to withhold out of fear. It takes more courage to stay open when others close themselves off, and it takes more faith to believe that giving is never wasted, even when it is not returned. Her heart is living proof that blessings are not meant to be hoarded. They are meant to be multiplied through love and kindness. A woman with a heart that gives without expecting anything back becomes a light in every place she goes. Her presence teaches without words, her actions inspire without speeches, and her kindness leaves ripples long after she has walked away. People may forget what she looks like, they may forget what she said, but they never forget how she made them feel. And that is because her giving is not just an act, it is her identity. It is the evidence that she is blessed in a way that cannot be explained by worldly measures. It is a blessing that comes from above and flows through her to everyone she touches. Strength in trials is one of the most unmistakable signs of a woman blessed by God because it reveals itself when everything around her seems to fall apart, and yet she refuses to be defeated. It is not that she avoids hardship. It is not that her life is free of pain. It is that in the very moments where others would crumble, she finds a way to rise. She endures the storms without letting them erase her hope. She walks through loss without letting it strip away her compassion. She faces disappointment without letting it harden her heart, and that kind of strength cannot be taught by books or speeches. It is planted deep within her spirit by something greater than herself. It is the quiet but unshakable resilience that tells her no matter how heavy the load is, she was built to carry it, and she will not break. When trials come, they test more than just her patience. They test her faith, her identity, and her determination. And while many see trials as punishment, she views them as the very places where her character is refined, where her courage is proven, and where her faith becomes stronger. The blessing of her strength is not that she avoids tears or escapes the weight of struggle. The blessing is that she finds meaning in it. She learns from it, she grows through it, and she uses it as fuel to keep moving forward. She does not stay stuck in bitterness. She does not allow her wounds to define her. Instead, she allows them to shape her into someone wiser and more compassionate. Her trials are not wasted because she understands they are part of her preparation for greater things. The beauty of her strength is that it does not only serve her, it inspires others in ways she may never realize. People watch her go through things that would break most, and yet she carries herself with grace. She speaks with hope, and she continues to show love even in her own struggle. She becomes proof to others that it is possible to endure, possible to keep believing, and possible to stand tall even when life tries to knock you down. Her life becomes a living testimony that hardship does not erase value and pain does not erase purpose. Her strength is contagious because when others see her rise from the ashes, they begin to believe they can rise too. Her strength in trials is also revealed in the way she adapts because she understands that life will not always go according to plan and sometimes doors close that she thought would stay open. But instead of letting that stop her, she learns to pivot. She learns to create new paths, and she learns to trust that the detours still lead somewhere meaningful. She is not afraid to let go of what is lost because she believes that what is meant for her will never pass her by. That belief gives her the courage to face each new chapter with resilience instead of regret. It gives her the ability to turn setbacks into comebacks and pain into purpose. This blessing of strength shows itself most clearly in the quiet moments when no one is watching and she has every reason to give up but chooses not to. It is in the nights when she prays through tears and still wakes up determined to keep going. It is in the mornings when she rises with a heavy heart but still chooses to show up for the people she loves. It is in the decisions to keep believing in goodness even after being hurt. Those unseen choices are the true measure of her strength because they prove that what keeps her standing is not human willpower alone, but but a divine foundation holding her steady. Her strength is not about being unshaken. It is about being able to bend without breaking. It is about being vulnerable without losing faith. It is about being honest about her pain while still choosing hope. She does not need to pretend to be invincible because she knows her strength is not in appearing perfect, but in refusing to quit. She embraces her scars not as signs of weakness, but as evidence that she has survived, that she has endured, and that she has emerged stronger than before. Each trial she overcomes adds another layer of resilience to her spirit and another depth of wisdom to her character. When you see a woman who continues to shine despite the storms she has faced, you are looking at someone carrying a divine blessing, because strength like that cannot be explained by ordinary means. It is forged in fire, sustained by faith, and multiplied by grace. And though she may not always recognize it herself, her endurance is a gift not only to her, but to everyone who witnesses it, because through her strength in trials, she becomes a living reminder that no matter how dark the season, no matter how heavy the burden, there is always light ahead, and there is always purpose, even in the pain. Wisdom that guides decisions and uplifts people around is one of the most defining signs of a woman blessed by God, because it is not simply knowledge or intelligence. It is the ability to see beyond the surface, to understand what others miss, and to know when to speak and when to stay silent. Her wisdom is not loud or boastful. It does not try to prove itself. Instead, it shows up in the clarity of her choices, in the steadiness of her perspective, and in the calm assurance that she carries into every situation. People naturally seek her counsel, not because she has all the answers, but because when she speaks, it feels as if her words come from a deeper place, a place rooted in truth, patience, and discernment. Her wisdom is not about knowing everything, but about knowing how to walk with grace, even in uncertainty. This kind of wisdom is built through experience, through trials, through moments of loss and moments of triumph, and through the humility of listening more than speaking. She has learned that wisdom is not gained by rushing, but by observing, by reflecting, and by allowing life to teach its lessons. She does not see mistakes as failures, but as classrooms that shape her insight. She does not see setbacks as endings, but as directions towards something better. And she does not see pain as pointless, but as a tool for compassion. Because her wisdom is never just for herself, it becomes a gift she shares with others, reminding them that no situation is wasted and no journey is meaningless. Every step contributes to the knowledge she carries and the guidance she offers. Her wisdom shines in the way she advises others without judgment, because she understands that everyone has their own struggles, their own path, and their own timing. Instead of criticizing, she chooses to uplift. Instead of pointing fingers, she chooses to extend grace. And instead of controlling, she chooses to empower. Her words are never used to belittle, but to build, to restore, and to give hope. She can correct without shaming. She can guide without forcing, and she can challenge without breaking someone's spirit. That kind of influence is rare because it requires balance, humility, and a heart that genuinely wants the best for others, and that balance is a blessing not everyone receives. Her wisdom is also revealed in the way she leads her own life, because decisions are not always easy and paths are not always clear. Yet she makes choices that reflect integrity, faith, and purpose. She does not simply do what is popular or convenient. She does what is right, even when it costs her, even when it sets her apart, even when others do not understand. She knows that shortcuts may seem tempting, but true fulfillment comes from staying aligned with values that cannot be compromised. Her decisions show that wisdom is not just about thinking ahead, but about remaining faithful to principles that will always stand the test of time. She becomes an example that actions guided by wisdom not only protect her, but also leave a legacy for those who watch her. This blessing of wisdom is not limited to grand decisions or major life events. It also shows up in the everyday choices she makes, in the way she handles conflict with patience instead of anger, in the way she prioritizes peace over pride, in the way she listens carefully before responding, in the way she chooses love even when offense would be easier. It is in those small daily choices that her wisdom shines most brightly because they shape the environment around her. They bring stability to her relationships, and they create an atmosphere where people feel valued, respected, and encouraged to grow. Wisdom in the small things often has the greatest impact because it teaches others by example more than by words. Her wisdom carries a ripple effect because the people who come into contact with her leave better than they arrived. They leave with more clarity, with more hope, and with more confidence. They remember how her words made them feel, how her actions gave them perspective, and how her presence brought them peace. And they often find themselves carrying that wisdom into their own lives, passing it on to others in ways she may never even know. Her blessing of wisdom multiplies through her influence. And in this way, she becomes not just a guide for her own life, but a quiet teacher for many lives around her, spreading light far beyond what she can see. The beauty of this wisdom is that it is not rooted in pride, but in humility. She does not claim to have it all figured out. She does not present herself as perfect. Instead, she acknowledges her own flaws, her own struggles, and her own growth. And it is that honesty that makes her wisdom even more powerful because it is real, it is lived, and it is tested. People trust her not because she is untouchable, but because she is relatable, and they know that her guidance comes from a place of authenticity and genuine care. Her wisdom is therefore not just a blessing to her, but a blessing to everyone whose path she crosses, reminding them that true strength is not in knowing everything, but in walking faithfully with what you have learned and generously sharing it with others. Joy that radiates and brings comfort to those near is one of the most beautiful and undeniable signs of a woman blessed by God, because it is not the shallow joy that depends on circumstances or possessions, but a deep inner gladness that flows no matter what season she is in. This kind of joy is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to find light, even in dark places, choosing to see hope even when storms are present, and choosing to smile even when life feels heavy. Her joy is not a mask, but a reflection of something divine that cannot be taken away by loss, failure, or disappointment. It is what makes people drawn to her, because when they are around her, they feel lighter, they feel encouraged, and they feel reminded that life still carries beauty, even in the middle of pain. Her joy becomes contagious. It spreads without her forcing it, and it lifts others in ways she may not even realize. This kind of joy is not loud or overwhelming. It does not have to demand attention or make grand gestures. It is found in the simple ways she lives, in her laughter that feels genuine, in her kindness that feels steady, and in her ability to notice blessings even in the smallest details. While others complain about what is missing, she focuses on what is present. While others see only problems, she still finds reasons to be grateful. And while others let negativity take over, she finds ways to let gratitude shape her perspective. That spirit of thankfulness feeds her joy and keeps it flowing. It becomes a daily choice, a habit that keeps her heart soft and her spirit alive. And the more she chooses joy, the more it strengthens her, making her unshakable in the face of challenges. Her joy is not selfish because it does not only serve her, it becomes a gift to everyone around her. It comforts people who are hurting, it encourages people who are weary, and it uplifts people who are doubting themselves. She has a way of walking into a room and shifting the atmosphere without even trying. Her presence reminds others that life is not just about what we go through, but how we carry ourselves through it. And when people leave her presence, they often feel more hopeful, more inspired, and more at peace than when they arrived. This is the blessing of her joy, that it multiplies in others without effort, making it not just a personal treasure, but a communal gift. Her joy is not naive. It does not come from ignoring reality or pretending pain does not exist. It comes from a place of deep faith and trust. She understands that hardships will come, losses will happen, and challenges will test her. But she also knows that none of those things have the power to steal the light inside her. She chooses to anchor herself to something unshakable. And because of that, she can keep smiling even with tears in her eyes. She can keep loving even after being hurt, and she can keep moving forward even when she feels tired. Her joy is a quiet strength that holds her steady when life tries to pull her apart, and that strength is what draws others to her because they see in her the proof that real joy is possible even in imperfection. Her joy also shows up in the way she celebrates others because she does not see life as a competition. She rejoices in the success of those around her. She claps for others without envy, and she finds genuine happiness in seeing people thrive. She knows that someone else's blessing does not take away from her own, so she chooses to add light instead of adding bitterness. That ability to celebrate others is rare in a world filled with comparison and jealousy, but it is one of the clearest marks of a blessed woman because it shows that her joy is secure. It is not dependent on being above others. It is rooted in gratitude for what she has and faith for what is still to come. Her joy is visible even in how she handles the ordinary parts of life. She doesn't wait for big moments to feel alive. She brings energy into daily routines. She finds reasons to laugh at small mistakes. She takes time to enjoy little blessings. And she makes the people around her feel that even in the ordinary there is something worth cherishing. This consistency is what makes her joy trustworthy. It is not temporary, it is not shallow, it is not dependent on outside noise. It flows steadily through her and becomes a source of stability for those around her. When others feel lost, they find comfort in her outlook. When others feel tired, they find energy in her spirit. And when others feel hopeless, they find encouragement in her faith. A woman whose joy radiates is not just someone who is happy. She is someone who has chosen to be a vessel of light, someone who has decided that bitterness will not define her, that pain will not control her, and that fear will not silence her. Her joy becomes evidence that blessings are not only measured in what you have, but in what you carry within you. It is a joy that does not fade with time, does not crumble under pressure, and does not disappear with loss. It endures, it shines, and it spreads, and through that joy she becomes a living blessing to everyone who has the privilege of crossing her path.